Hey guys, welcome to Windshine Audio. For those of you who are new to the channel, I'm Alvin, founder of the company based in Singapore. A short video to talk about the Denafrips Aries 2 and the Pontus II DAC. You guys may have seen many reviews online or in the traditional magazine to compare the Aries 2 DAC and the Pontus II DAC and how do they fare comparing each other in terms of sound quality. I think I have not shared a video like this to compare the two DAC, not in terms of sound quality, but in terms of the size, the build quality, and what is inside the Aries 2 DAC and what is inside the Pontus II DAC and what makes the price difference between them. I'm not good in describing the sound quality. I usually leave it to the reviewer. I leave it to the user to debate or to decide or to critique how the DAC sound. In all honesty, something that is coming from the seller like me doesn't really count. So I leave the comments of sound quality to the reviewer, but my job here is to tell you what made out of Aries 2 and what made out of the Pontus II DAC. Let's begin. This is the Aries 2 DAC. Its size about 250 millimeter width. It's made out of metal piece. The top cover and the bottom chassis is metal sheet, and the front panel is aluminum anodized in black color. It is only available in black color, and the bottom unit in silver color is the Pontus II. It's made out of, let me put this guy away. It's made out of aluminum. It's pretty heavy. Right. This Aries 2 weighs about 3.5 kilogram. And the Pontus II, on the other hand, about 12 kilogram, I think. It's made out of aluminum block, front panel, top cover, left and right chassis, and the bottom part is aluminum. They're anodized in either silver color or black color. So in terms of build quality, you can tell that the Aries 2 is built to a price point where it's accessible for most of the people, whereas the Pontus II is of very high quality. In my opinion, the Pontus II shared similar architecture as the bigger brother, the Venus 2, Terminator 2, and the Terminator Plus. So there are more things in Pontus II compared to the Aries 2, and I will show you guys in a while. Right, this is the Aries 2. It does the pretty same function as the Pontus II, where it converts the digital signal to analog output. At the back here, we have the USB input, 2 coaxial input, and 2 optical input. The DAC does its job and converts this signal using FPGA plus R2R ladder, and the output of this Aries 2 DAC can be connected using RCA or XLR. Let me show you what's inside. I already have the screw loosened. Let me pop this guy out. The top cover is made of metal sheet stamped in the form of a U shape. So it's a pretty thin sheet of metal sheet, but it does its function to cover up the Aries 2. And this is what is inside the Aries 2. Let me put this on top of the Pontus II gently. I hope the camera can capture the details of this Aries 2. AC filter to filter out the AC noise. All-core transformer to step down the AC mains to a smaller AC right here at the bottom. You can't see it. And the smaller AC will be sent to this bunch of rectifier here and a bank of capacitor bank to smoothen the DC, to convert the AC to DC. And the DC is further regulated by a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 LT1763 LDO linear regulator, and the regulated DC voltage will be sent to here, the FPGA, USB input. You notice this little USB input, this little USB input here is modularized. This is a newer Aries 2. Yes, we still call it an Aries 2. It comes with a USB module. This USB module can be replaced just in case the USB doesn't work for some reason. Right, and this is the small changes that Denafrips did to the latest Aries tool. So the DC voltage will be sent to this USB module, FPGA, as well as the R2R ladder circuitry here. The SPDIF input and optical input are converted using the FPGA directly. There are some buffer circuitry here. I'm not sure whether you guys can see. Yeah, there's some buffer circuitry here to receive the SPDIF signal over coaxial and optical. These signals are wired to this FPGA. The USB signal is a proprietary solution by Denafrips, where this USB receiver receives the USB signal and convert it to I2S before sending it to this FPGA here. And the FPGA will do its job and send the signal further down to the R2R circuitry here to convert the digital signal to analog signal. So this is pretty much what it does for the Aries 2 DAC. Okay, I have the older board here. Let me show you guys. This is the previous version, but we still call it an Aries 2. What Denafrips did is to modularize the USB input, and the rest of the stuff are pretty much the same. So this is the Aries 2 circuit board. And this is how it is done and mounted into this chassis. Right, how about the Pontus II? Let me put this aside right here. The Pontus II comes with a little bit more function, more inputs. It is spotted. Let me just flip it to the back. Yeah, it's heavy. It comes with USB input, I2S input over HDMI, optical input, 2 AES EBU input, 1 BSC connector input for SPDIF coaxial, and 1 RCA coaxial input. All these digital signal are again wired to the DSP, digital to signal processing module inside. I will show you guys later. And it does its job to convert the digital signal to analog signal by using the R2R ladder circuitry and output over RCA and XLR. Just before I forget, both DAC are true balance. This ladder here are true balance, so if possible, please use the XLR connector. But some of you may not have balanced equipment, be it the balanced headphone amp or the balanced integrated amp or preamp power amp. It is perfectly fine to use the RCA connection. Right, let me show you guys what is inside this Pontus DAC. It's made out of really heavy aluminum chassis. Let me pop this guy open and put this safety aside. Right. Okay, this is what is inside this Pontus II DAC. As you guys can see, in comparison to the Aries 2, there are more things inside. Right, the digital signal here are wired to this modular DSP, the digital signal processing module. It is spotted with the USB receiver, the STM32 AMR processor to process the USB signal. The rest of the digital input, for example, of the I2S, the SPDIF over BNC, coaxial, or the AES EBU are wired to this buffer circuitry here. All these signals are further connected to this FPGA. This FPGA will do its jobs to process the digital signal. The processed digital signal is further sent to this CPLD. It's another kind of microprocessor that process things that you would want to process. So it's programmable. Obviously, Denafrips programmed these two CPLD as well as the FPGA to process digital audio signal. And these two little CPLD chips here send the digital signal to this R2R circuitry here. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ladder circuitry here to process the digital signal in balanced form and output the digital signal to the XLR connector and the RCA connector. So Denafrips DAC are true balance. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 ladder here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 ladder here to process the analog signal left and right channel, positive and the negative phase. And all these are wired to the XLR connector and RCA connector. Before I forget, you don't see the power transformer here because the power transformer is mounted at the bottom of the main board. I call it a main board. You can say this is a main motherboard. You can say this is a motherboard. And at the bottom of this motherboard, there's a power supply unit. The power supply unit comprises of, I have it with me. Please do not drop. No, okay. Right, it's a encased power supply box underneath the motherboard. So this guy is mounted in this fashion, and the output of this power supply box is wired to this motherboard using this PCB stand. Right, this guy is spotted with two transformers, 1 and 2. These two are the all-core transformer. One is meant for digital section. The other one is meant for the R2R ladder circuitry. So it doesn't have fields here. Denafrips uses smart, I wouldn't say smart, auto voltage sensing circuitry for the higher end model like the Pontus II, Venus II Terminator, and the Terminator Plus, where it senses the AC mains incoming voltage and switches a couple of relays here to send the correct voltage to the AC transformer. The AC transformer will step down the AC mains to a smaller voltages right here. And the smaller voltages will further regulated by the rectifier and the capacitor bank here. And the regulated voltage will be sent to this, again, a bunch of capacitor bank on the Pontus II DAC motherboard. So the DC supply from the PSU box is sent through the copper standoff of the power supply unit to the motherboard. And the motherboard, on top of the motherboard, is spotted with a capacitor bank here to further regulate the power supply coming from the PSU box. And it is spotted with, I lost count, the bunch of capacitor here. The reason why Denafrips use a bunch of capacitor, be it in the Pontus II or the Aries II, is because paralleling the capacitor will yield lower impedance and lower ESR. So all this may have a good effect to the sound quality. So audiophile knows that the power supply quality equates to the good sound foundation. So Denafrips is also a strong believer that the power supply should be done well. So the power supply is further regulated by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linear regulator, and this does the same thing like a Aries II to send the voltage to this DSP module to the R2R ladder circuitry. So this is how we can differentiate the Aries II and the Pontus II. But whether the Pontus II worth the extra bucks compared to the Aries II, it is always a very difficult question to answer. So very often we have customers who bought the Aries II and always wonder how the Pontus II will fare against the Aries II. They're very happy with the Aries II, but as in all audiophile, we always chase for the better sound quality within our means. So we always wondered whether the higher end model will sound better in their system or not. But as a seller like me, it's always difficult to assure you that the Pontus II will sound better. The answer that I given to the customer is always, it really depends on how attentive you listen to the music and how revealing your system is. That being said, the Aries II is an amazing DAC. If the budget allows, and if you're a serious audiophile and your system is revealing enough to truly explore the potential of the Pontus II DAC, I would say the Pontus II is a good choice. But if you are happy with the Aries II and you're not, I wouldn't say you're not a very serious audiophile, but you're more to the music rather than the fidelity or rather than the details or the last 5 to 10% of the sound quality, I would say Aries II is good enough for majority of the people. But if you want more, and if you are like an audiophile like me, the Pontus II will be my recommendation. So there are enough reviews for the Aries II and the Pontus II, as well as enough review for the comparison of the two for the sound quality. And this video is really to show you what are the differences in terms of build quality, the engineering behind this two DAC, and give you an idea why the price difference between the two is more than double. Right. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit on the notification button, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. I'm going to release my hand. Please do not drop. Bye bye.